If you're wondering whether or not blogging is like DEAD dead for wedding and portrait photographers in 2022, we have some facts that might surprise you.
So today we are continuing our free marketing tactics for photographers video series, talking really all about how something as simple as blogging could change your business in the long run.
But before we jump into that, we're going to introduce ourselves.
I'm Hunter.
And I'm Sarah.
And we're Hunter and Sarah Photography, a husband and wife professional wedding photography team.
We're also educators, and our goal is to help photographers to build strong foundations in both their business and their personal lives so that they can run profitable and sustainable photography businesses.
So a couple weeks back in part 8 of this series, we were talking about our second personal networking marketing tactic and really all about how you can turn old friends and family on social media into paying wedding photography and portrait photography clients.
This week, we are going to discuss how for just a few hours per week, you could begin building up a following that could translate directly to booked photography jobs. So let's jump into the 4 reasons why Hunter and I think even in the social media age, wedding photographers should still be blogging.
So the very first reason why Sarah and I think that you should still be blogging is simply to celebrate and really love on your couples or your clients if no matter what you're shooting. Early in our career, Sarah and I committed, and this was sort of at the behest of a mentor of ours, that we should commit to blogging every single session we shot. So whether it was a wedding, an engagement session, family, senior, didn't matter. We were going to dedicate a small post on our website to them and their love story, or the story of what their senior year has been like, or the story of what our time with their family was like during a family session, and really just help our couples feel really special after their portrait session or their wedding day.
Yeah, now, obviously, we make an exception for our clients who specifically ask that we don't make this post about them and post their images online. But, later on in our career, as we began specializing more in wedding and engagements, we stopped blogging the occasional family or senior portrait session that we would still sometimes shoot in our slower season. But from mid-2018 through last year, we committed to blogging 2 to 3 times per week, every single week. And even to this day, we still blog every single surprise proposal, engagement session, and wedding that we photograph. And we do it first and foremost because we know that our clients love it.
And even though we still blog probably at least weekly, for years, just those 2 to 3... we met our sort of 2 to 3 sessions or 2 to 3 blogs a week quota just by shooting our couples and our clients' sessions. But there are other things that you can blog about as well, which we're going to get to sort of later on in this post.
Now, if you've been following along with our YouTube for a while, you know that we did talk about blogging a little bit in part 4 of our post-production secrets video series. Although in that video, we talked a lot more about the how of blogging than the why.
But one thing that we did mention, even in that short mention of blogging, was that, and this goes especially for wedding photography, that it really serves our couples well by being this sort of bridge between their sneak peek and their final gallery, right? So for Sarah and I, our workflow is the morning after the wedding, usually within 24 hours, or really always within 24 hours, we're going to post a sneak peek of 5 to 10 wedding images from the day before onto our social media. And then it might be 6 or 8 weeks after that before we get to their final gallery, which might have 1,000 images or even more.
Yeah, so our clients' blog, which usually consists of 25 to 50 of our favorite images from the day, is usually posted a week or so after the wedding and serves as the perfect holdover for our couples. It also encourages them, bonus, it encourages them to share our images that are hosted on our website to their personal network, their friends, and their family. So while they are still really excited about their wedding photos.
And so why is blogging better than maybe just directly sending those 25 or 50 edited images straight to your clients, in a private gallery, the way you might deliver their final photos, right? Why go through all the effort of posting them on your website in a lower resolution so that it loads quickly and, writing up a small blurb about their wedding day? Why is it worth it, right? Well, for us, yes, the images showcase our work, but the words that we write showcase us. And so it helps people who have maybe never met us before to really get to know us and understand who we are and get a feel for what talking with us or even working with us is like, right? Your clients themselves might not care whether they get the 50 images on a blog or directly emailed to them. But if you want to use your blog as marketing, if you want to use it as a marketing tactic, then posting it to your website, posting those images to your blog makes way more sense than just maybe emailing that sort of intermediate sneak peek directly to your clients.
Yeah, and photography is an industry where your personal brand is so important when it comes to setting yourself apart from like all of the other photographers out there. A personal and sincere blog may just be the thing that shows, your heart for what you do and for your clients and just how you love and serve your couples.
And so this ties directly into kind of reason number 2 for starting a photography blog, which is to build a following. Now, we know that social media has, by and large, replaced the world of like chat rooms and forums and, long form blogging from like the late 2000s to the early 2010s. But honestly, wedding blogs might just be the exception.
Yeah, last year our average wedding blog got around like 150 views on our website, but some of our like highest performing blog posts have literally thousands of reads. That is thousands of people who are so interested in what we posted on social media that they clicked or tapped a link, opened our blog, and spent time reading our words and viewing our images.
More on social media, by the way, in a previous video in this series right here. But we already know that our past clients, like we mentioned, they love seeing that sort of curated selection that comes within a week or two of their wedding day with a little write-up that really celebrates them. Like, we know that they love it. But because we have been posting consistently week in and week out, we've now built an audience of people who they might not know any of these couples who are getting married or any of these couples who are getting engaged, but we have proven ourselves as a consistent source of interesting and valuable and entertaining content. So even if they don't know the couple, they're still checking out our blog week in and week out, which is really good for helping build future potential clients, people who may not have found you, but they found you because of the blogging.
Now, we know that blogging 2 to 3 times per week isn't realistic for everyone, either because you're shooting so infrequently that you just don't have enough content, or because you are shooting so much, or maybe you would like work another job that you just like cannot find the time to blog every session. But even if you blogged once a week or twice a month, you can still build that momentum and create content that others will want to see. And of course, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And as you get busier, it'll be like a natural part of your workflow.
Yeah, but so I mentioned this sort of a few minutes ago, but blogging, the sessions that you shoot for your clients isn't the only thing that you can blog.
Exactly. Well, there have certainly been like slow seasons there have certainly been seasons where we're shooting 2 to 3 times each week. That obviously hasn't been every week for the last 4 years. That would be absolutely nuts. So if we have a week coming up where even after blogging our client sessions, we still have room in what we call the blogging calendar, we'll create a post about something else that fits our brand and is either helpful and informative or entertaining and personable.
So that first category, helpful and informative. On our website, we call that the 4 Hour Clients section of our blog. And this is where we write helpful advice that is going to be both improve the experience of our current clients by us sharing our wisdom, but is also maybe a way that clients who haven't booked a wedding photographer yet but are interested in wedding photography may find us naturally. So whether you are recommending, a local engagement session locations or your favorite local venues, or maybe you're talking about wedding planning, timeline tips, all of these things can both serve your current clients as well as attract future clients to your blog and to your website and eventually to reaching out to you.
The other category are things that are more personal and like purely entertaining as opposed to educational. So this is where you can write about whatever you want about your personal life and give your ideal clients just an opportunity to fall in love with you and your personal brand. So for us, these are like our travel blogs, our annual behind the scenes blogs where we like look at our year as wedding photographers and is filled with like all of the behind the scenes blooper gems, and our renovations blogs where we just share our home renovation stories. These all have little to nothing to do with photography, but are often some of our most popular posts in a given year.
And like Sarah mentioned before, building a personal brand and setting yourself apart from all of the other really talented photographers out there is a really important part of building successful photography business. But for us, some of our most popular blog posts have been in some of these categories over the years. And because they're not about a specific wedding couple, they stay relevant much longer than your average, wedding or engagement blog, the type of blog you do for your, for each individual client, right? And so I think we did a series a few years ago called A Guy's Guide to Proposing Well. I think we first posted it 4.5 years ago, something like that. And it's been updated once since, but it's really just all about helping people prepare to propose to their partner. And because that is something that is helpful and informative and stays relevant no matter what the year is, this is something that we are still getting dozens of views every month on many of the posts in this blog series. And that's really sort of because Google is naturally bringing people to that series, but we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah. And by the way, if you want to see some examples of what some of these like non-client blogs would look like, we've posted a handful of links across like a bunch of those different categories in the comments below.
Yeah, in the description. Yeah.
In the description.
Yeah. No, that was my bad. But anyway, so yes, I mentioned just a second ago SEO. And so what that stands for is, or I mentioned Google rather, but this is honestly probably the biggest reason why we think most new photographers could really benefit from a blog. And that is what's called search engine optimization, or SEO, which a very basic understanding is basically things you do to your website so that Google sends people to your website, right? And so SEO is this big buzzword, and there's lots of mystery around it, and there's lots of gurus and lots of experts, and it's constantly changing. And at its heart, really the way that Google does all these things is a secret because, it's a proprietary secret. They don't want people. It's changing, blah, blah, blah. But before you get overwhelmed thinking about SEO, there are a few very general principles that aren't going to change anytime soon because it's fundamentally how a search engine works.
Yeah, so one of those like fundamental principles is that when someone searches for something on Google, Google wants to show them relevant websites. And one of the ways that it determines, what's relevant is just to see what websites are frequently updated.
So in other words, and this is assuming that your blog is hosted on your website, and so therefore the rest of your website would also benefit from some of that SEO, improvement. But assuming that's the case, every time you update your blog, you're basically telling Google, like, hey, Google, this website that's all about, Charlottesville wedding photography, for example, is constantly being updated and is full of relevant information. So, hey, next time someone Googles Charlottesville wedding photography, why don't you send them over to, Hunter and Sarah's website? Because it seems like they're updating it all the time.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand, if your website hasn't been updated in like a year or more, you're essentially communicating to Google like, hey, this website is probably outdated and maybe updated rarely. It might even not be relevant anymore. Just don't bother showing it to anyone when they search.
And honestly, this should be reason enough to be blogging, honestly. So in preparing for this video, we went back and we looked at some numbers, as you're probably noticing a theme. And over the years, Sarah and I have made right around $75,000, somewhere between $7,000 and $75,000 in weddings and portrait sessions that we booked from what's called native SEO. In other words, the search engine optimization that was not paid for, right? We've never run Google ads or anything, bringing people directly to our website. So how do we book $75,000 worth of, ads from Google, right? I think that it is largely because of the blogging that we've done, 2 to 3 times a week for 4 years straight. And so if you look at, we spend a little less than 4 hours a week on blogging. If you take that, 3.85 hours per week and sort of do the math on the $75,000 that we've made over the last 4 years, it comes out to about $100 an hour every time we sit down to write a blog, which sounds pretty good to me.
But at the end of the day, just like with any other marketing tactic, this is not like a magic money machine, and it's not the type of thing that will get you instant results.
Yeah.
Building a blog is a slow process that builds on itself over time. So decide just how often you want to blog and just dive right in, stick to it, be consistent with it. But that's it for this week.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. We really do hope that this video has helped show you that blogging could be a really powerful tool in your marketing tool belt as a photography business.
If you haven't already, we would really encourage you to join our free Facebook community, Mastering the Wedding Photography Biz with Hunter and Sarah.
That's us.
This is the thing. That's where it goes right here. This is a group where we are building a community of other photographers who are also building their photography businesses and just helping each other out along the way.
If you haven't noticed already, we put out a new video every single week. And so be sure to like and subscribe so that you are the first to know when we drop new content.
Yeah. And if you found this video helpful, if you have questions, if you have a comment because you feel like we missed something, just comment below.